Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Muller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of Future Proof, the podcast where we interview founders, leaders, and execs all across various industries on how AI, data, and emerging technology are reshaping the business landscape. And if you are looking to future-proof your business, you're definitely in the right place. And before we jump into today's episode, as everyone knows, or if you're new, we here at Deploy AI, we are happy to have a 30-minute conversation with you about where AI fits in. No pitch. We're just here to help. If you want to book a call with us, there's a link in every one of our show notes for a 30-minute call with us. But let's jump in today's episode. I am joined today by Adam Torkildson from Tork Media. Adam, thank you for joining.
My total pleasure, Brent.
I'm looking forward to this. So, Adam, as we always do here, we start with the leader's journey. So talk to us about your background and some of your experiences leading up to Tork Media.
I first thought of my professional career in terms of writing and stories, actually. I was homeschooled from the time I was in third grade through ninth grade. And my mom's style was write it and read it, and then you'll learn it. So I wrote probably 40 to 50 10-page reports by the time I was like 16. And that's no joke. You can ask any one of my 7 siblings. And so there's pros and cons.
So you come from a big family.
Yeah. I mean, we're LDS, Mormon, and that was sort of typical in the 80s, was to have big families. It's a little less typical these days.
Right.
Anyway, back then,
it really is.
Yeah,
you're right.
The birth rates are declining in general, and that's a fact. Anyway,
yes,
that's another topic,
yes,
which we could get into if you want to. But my backstory: big family, lots of writing and reading. I still love reading to this day. All of my siblings hate it, so I used that to my advantage when I got to college, because I noticed pretty quickly that there's a lot of reading and writing involved in all of my courses. Doesn't matter whether it was math, English, science, whatever. There was a lot of reading and writing involved. And I found out really quickly I could write those reports and papers really fast because I was really good at BSing stuff from my homeschool days. And I never bought a book. And I graduated with my bachelor's in communications in 3 years and didn't have any debt, just worked at the newsroom at the university I was going to here in Utah. And so I totally thought writing and reading was my career path because I was good at it. It was very easy. And then I got an internship at a PR agency and realized really quickly there's like 50% more to a career than just the skills that you have going into it. You know, the hard skills like reading, writing.
100%.
And I recognized I was not a very good employee because I like doing things my own way. And that, again, was that was a throwback to homeschool.
Yeah.
Homeschool.
Every entrepreneur ever has said that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I didn't realize it then that I didn't work well with strict rules and procedures. But I learned growing up that I had a tough time following rules. I knew that, but I didn't think it was like a negative thing. I just thought that's kind of how everybody is. None of us like rules. So I didn't think anything about it. Graduated. My first job out of college was at a little tiny place called SEO.com. And I was their third employee they hired. It was like a frat party minus the alcohol because we're Mormon and we don't drink. But it was a bunch of 20-something young men, all not really knowing what we were doing. But we had this amazing domain name, SEO.com. That described the industry that we were in.
Oh, yeah.
That was just it. So we grew really fast. In 2 years, we had over 200 employees. And I never once got a promotion to anything because I didn't want one. I did not want to be a leader. I loved being in the trenches and doing things that moved the needle and just testing and trying stuff. And that was where I excelled. So shortly after my second year anniversary, I got an offer to go work with somebody else at a different agency, and I took it, but I also took some of my clients with me. And I'd signed a non-compete, and so SEO.com sued me. That was my first lawsuit of my life, and it was super emotional and difficult. And I was married with a young kid at the time, So that added even more stress.
Right.
But my wife stuck with me. We worked through it. A lot of ups and downs in that process until eventually, a couple of years later, I was forced into essentially having to start Tork Media. And I had to borrow money from a friend to do that. Had no other choice. Through a series of my own mistakes
Right.
and decisions and addiction all through those years, I was at the point where I had to declare bankruptcy or start Tork Media. That's where I was at. So now,
Right.
15 years later, Tork Media is still alive and well, and I've started a couple other companies and exited a few with ups and downs along the way.
Totally understand that. And yeah, I mean, that's the ups and downs, the highs and lows of being an entrepreneur. And a lot of us have been through similar. So I think there's a lot of people that are listening to this and resonating. So I'm glad. The best thing you could always say about that, perseverance is the true measure of an entrepreneur, right? And persistence. And so to me, you personify that. So, kudos to you. So tell us a little bit about Tork Media, right? You've had some good and bad exits, and now you have two, three, I think you're involved at least 3 different companies now. So talk to us about what Tork Media does and what you're involved with.
Tork Media is an ideal SaaS advertising solution for marketing agencies. It's a network of news websites that I've built and acquired over the last 15 years that allow content publishing and syndication, a little bit like a press release network, but we actually don't allow press releases. It's all featured stories, guest posts, nothing that is labeled as sponsored or advertorial. So it's really awesome because it allows agencies to publish content about their clients on 200 plus different sites, some of which include USA Today and other name brands you've heard of. And I control those relationships directly. I either own the sites myself or I have a partnership with those publishers. And it's a really old school model. It's still content publishing and syndication, and it still is a valuable thing, even in the days of AI overviews and things like that.
So along those lines, obviously, if you think about the content publishing, right? Crazy stuff is happening. Content's becoming easier to create than ever. What are you seeing in the industry? What are the shifts and where do you see it going?
So from my perspective as a publisher, I'm looking at things a little bit differently than a small business owner might. Because we've published over 400,000 articles over the last 15 years. So I look at things like how well do they get indexed in Google? How much traffic do they drive for these advertisers? How much organic traffic can they get from publishing articles like this? So I look at stuff like that. And we've seen ChatGPT and other chat LLMs slowly overtaking where the end client is getting their traffic from. We are also seeing an insane amount of personal name searches, not brand names, but like the personal name. So the Andy Byrons of the world are getting really hammered. Yeah.
Wow.
And I feel bad for him. I honestly do, because he got destroyed in the matter of a few hours. And I'm not going to comment on the morality of any of it from one side or the other, but everyone on LinkedIn today knows this guy's name, for better or for worse, and other social media. And so a lot of stuff like that crosses my desk. I'm not involved in the actual publishing side of things anymore because as an operator, I'm not in the weeds, so to speak. But when stuff like that happens, where there's like a huge viral event, people's names are the thing that gets searched for the most. It's less and less brands, it's more and more people. And I don't know why that is, but that's a trend we're seeing.
Well, you know what's funny that you say that, right? One of the things that we tell founders now, because we have tons and tons of B2B and SaaS founders, right, as podcast guests and in the audience, right, or listeners. And we tell them all that gone are the days of just staying behind the scenes. You have to build your personal brand. And what you just said, Adam, it really is a reinforcement of that, right? People are searching people more than ever. And, it's a way in which, why podcasts are growing so much, right? I was always behind the scenes, right? And I started the podcast for a different reason, but I understand also getting your name out there and And because again, I think people are searching people more than ever. Obviously, you don't want to be Andy Byron today and getting those kind of searches, but yeah, there's definitely
there's going to be some positive results for him and Astronomer in some way, shape, or form, because
absolutely
the old adage always holds true. All press is good press. It's hard to say exactly how it's all going to shake out for him and Astronomer, but it's just a fact. If you watch this and you look at it a month from now, just see where they are.
Yeah. Oh, their revenue is going to go up because of it. Yeah, you're not wrong. So, Adam, the natural and the whole point of the podcast is how is AI influencing all of this? Talk to us about where you think AI affects this, how it influences it, and where are the opportunities?
I'm going to start with the opportunities. My podcast, Vision with Execution, one of my last guests, his name is John Chaney. He's a huge proponent of AI. He actually created an AI training school for businesses specifically. He does a 9-hour course where he literally leads the cohort live, and he walks people through all the possible ways in which you could use AI to do anything within your business. And he charges like $1,200 for that 9-hour course, and it's 100% worth doing. I can't remember the name of the dang course, otherwise I'd say it out loud, but John Chaney is his name. He's here in Utah, and so he sees a lot of stuff in AI. He has to stay on top of everything within that industry. And so I was asking him, what's going on with AI right now? What's next? What's the opportunities? And he's like, AI is not going to replace anyone's job anytime soon. But
anytime soon, I agree.
But at the same time, you have to be using AI in your job function to some degree or another, or you will get left behind.
And you will lose your job.
Yeah. So learn how to use AI. It's not going to steal anything away from you if you learn how to use it and be more efficient with it, because that is where it's headed.
Yep, I totally agree. I equate it to, Adam, is you were doing a whole bunch of by hand math calculations. Someone hand you a calculator, like, no, I'm not going to use it. Like it's absurd, right? Not to use it. This is that times 1,000, right? Or times 10,000. Because if you can get rid of the mundane things within your job, how much more, one, would you enjoy your job? Two, how much more productive can you be? And then how much more thought leadership in your, whatever your job function is, can you bring to it? Because you're not bogged down on repetitive, menial stuff.
Yeah, 100% true. And I see it in my own businesses. In Tork Media, we have to create a ton of content all the time. And so do our agency clients, and all of them. And my team, we're all using AI to help us create our content. It's not doing 100% of it for us, but we use it constantly every day to help us source, cite, proofread, and eventually get stuff published way faster than I ever could have 20 years ago as a journalism student.
Totally agreed. And so as you look down the horizon, the next 18 months, because it's changing so fast, I say there's no one can look past that, because we just don't know how quick on the hockey stick that we are. But we're certainly moving up faster than I expected. As you look down the next 18 months, how do you think it impacts the marketing and agency industry and the SaaS industry in general?
I think the SaaS industry is going to be more heavily impacted. Because from my perspective as somebody who has a SaaS company, AI has the capability to replicate nearly everything we're doing right now. Now,
yes,
if somebody figures out how to make AI do that, then that is the real crux of the situation. Whether or not AI has the capability, that's not a question. It does. But can somebody prompt it enough to get to that point? We'll see in the next 18 months.
Yeah, I agree. Someone told me the other day, right? And it's funny. I want to get your take on this. Product-led growth is the future for sure, only because of AI. We have companies now. I think Cursor's a great example, right, of product-led growth. They barely do any marketing. They have less than 100 employees, and I think they're at 500 million ARR, right? In like 3 years. We're going to have billion-dollar companies, to what you just said, because of AI's capability. The people that are going to harness are going to have billion-dollar companies with 10 employees, right? And that's just like our brains can't even comprehend how you could have that, right? But to your point about how to harness AI, the people that are going to do this, and we're going to start to see it over the next 1 to 2 years, is how they do that. And do you see it the same way?
I don't see it exactly that way, actually, because those are sort of like a unicorn stories to me. And we have a lot of unicorns here in Utah, actually. So
yeah, you do. What do they call it?
Silicon Slopes.
The Silicon Slopes. Yeah. Yes. I had someone from Utah the other day, and that was the first I had heard of that. I like that.
You're going to hear a lot more of it over the next 18 months. But one of the things that John Chaney told me about some of his students, he tracks what these guys do with their AI skills and knowledge. 2 of them created startups with no coding experience whatsoever. One of them was a volleyball coach for 30 years. And with his instruction from John's course and his connections in the volleyball industry, he created a volleyball specific networking app that connected volleyball pros to amateurs and student athletes. It's a very basic, simple concept, but he created it all with AI in a matter of a week. And he was at 100,000 in revenue within 30 days. That's the sort of thing.
Crazy.
I think that's going to be a little bit more common than the unicorn hockey stick stories, but we're not going to hear about those, right? We're only going to hear about the unicorns.
Right.
But I think that is where the real strength lies, is in creating those really niche products and SaaS solutions for really niche communities by people who have no experience whatsoever in coding, where it would have cost them millions to code something like that 10 years ago. That's actually John's words. That platform would have cost $2.8 million to code from the ground up just 10 years ago. And this volleyball coach with no experience took a 9-hour course and did it in a week on his own. That's going to be the common, but much less heard of opportunity and future of these AI tools.
I totally agree with that. Right. And those are the stories you never hear. Yeah. And that's amazing. And they're the kind of stories that, you want to highlight on here, because this is the opportunity for the people that are thinking, how can I take advantage of this biggest shift, right? Because we're gonna disrupt corporate America in a big, big way. And these are the kind of stories that you want to get people out and trying and doing. And so I love that volleyball story. I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, to me, these are the kind of things we want to highlight. What else do you see, Adam, as you looked at? Because to me, I feel like I'm a big glass half full, right? If we can use AI and harness it the right way? But you run a podcast too. Like, what are you hearing outside of this? And what do you, where do you get excited?
Well, I'm going to start by talking being authentic and transparent. I'm a Christian, very big, deep believer that there's a God controlling the universe. And we're all put on this earth for a reason. So if we all start from that as our baseline belief, then we can do so much more with our lives. And then if we build on that principle to the next step in the logical progression, if we're all here for a purpose, what is that purpose? If you've asked yourself that question and you don't know yet, now's the time to figure it out, because humans were built, literally wired to be creators. And there's a billion different ways to be a creator, but we're all built to be creators in some way, shape, or form, just by the mere fact that we're humans and we're on the earth right now. So if that's all true, and whether or not anyone believes me that there's a God or an intelligent design or Buddha or Allah or whoever's guiding all this and created it, you can't escape the fact that we're all here and there's a reason for it. It's not just random nonsense. We all have a purpose.
Agreed.
And so I want to make sure everybody who hears this knows that they have a purpose and they were meant to be creators. And if they're willing to believe that, or even just hope that it's true, then here's what they should do with that information. They should go out and start trying to figure out their purpose and make it happen. And AI has the capacity to accelerate that by 100x.
It's just a tool that we've never, it's going to unlock so much. And I agree with you, Adam. I think everybody does have a purpose and everyone has something to contribute, right? And they just need to figure out what that is. And AI can be that accelerator. Then the AI can take it to the next level and help them implement it. So I agree with you. I really do. So Adam, this is really cool. We could probably go down a bunch of avenues, but unfortunately we're kind of coming up on our time. But Adam, tell everybody how to, because people will definitely want to figure out where Tork Media fits in. Tell everybody about like who that you're best fit for and how they can get in touch with you.
So Tork Media is perfect for marketing agencies that are doing at least $1 million in revenue a year and with at least 10 full-time employees. If you're not that big, you probably won't get as much value out of working with us because I've built it to scale with agency growth. And I love actually helping people figure out if they should use a solution like mine too. My direct cell phone number, I'm going to put it out there. This might sound crazy, but I do this on all my podcasts. You know how many people have actually called me? One.
Probably less than, I was going to say less than one.
So please text me. My number is 801-602-9873. I love chatting with people. I will tell you 100% upfront if Tork Media would be a good solution for you in your marketing efforts. And I could probably tell you what would work for you if Tork Media doesn't, because I've been around the marketing and advertising and technology and AI for a long time. And I just like talking to people and getting to know them. Networking and connecting and being authentic is just so valuable. Whether or not I make money out of it, to me, that doesn't matter anymore. I've got enough residual passive income that God has blessed me with that I just want to give back at this point.
It's amazing. And you think about where you started your story, right? And where you started off and before you even started Tork Media and to where you are today, and be able to give back that way is a phenomenal place to be. So Adam, thank you. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for sharing your insights. I love some of the stories that you told, and I'd love to have you back down the road and check back in with you, because I think it's just going to keep evolving. And you're talking to people all the time through your podcast, and I just think we can't collaborate enough. So I just appreciate you being on. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of Future Proof, and we'll have links to Tork Media in the show notes. So please get in touch. And Adam gave you a cell phone, so please take him up on it. Talk to him. I mean, that's what this podcast is all about. It is not meant to be just something that you listen to. It's a tool. It's a resource. And we like to make connections that help you move the needle. So thank you again, everyone, for listening. Adam, thank you for joining us. And guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Appreciate you all.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.